Wine Chats with Bildo Lindalin is proudly sponsored by Sense of Taste.
Boutique bottle shops located in Couparo and Hamilton.
Porn is obviously a big deal for guys. It's not so much for us. I mean, we use it and stuff, but like, does that, with erectile dysfunction and porn, can that turn into a problem? Like, how does this porn help with erectile dysfunction? I don't understand. What is porn for men?
No.
Welcome to Wine Chats with Bildo and Lindalin. My name is Billy Milovanovic, aka Bildo.
My name is Lindsay Kirkwood, also known as Linny, sometimes to Billy. Lindalin.
Hey, Lindalin.
Hi.
It's a sweet little podcast where we try a different bottle of wine each week. And then we dig into a juicy, meaty topic of our choice.
Are you going to talk in that voice this whole episode?
Absolutely, I will.
Okay, let's just rappity rap now then,
yeah,
people.
Let's just fast forward through this.
Rappity.
Right, good. No, I will not. I will speak in my normal radio voice.
That's even better.
Yeah,
fantastic. Yes, today episode, I don't know if you said this because I tune you out, like you tune me out, episode 65, which, say your funny joke, Billy.
65, which is appropriate because it's the retirement age in Australia.
Oh my God. And people are like, wow, that's a funny
I know.
joke.
It's like, why is that fun? Why is that appropriate, Linny?
Well, yeah, I'd say it's more appropriate than funny because we're actually having a guest on today. Orest he's a fellow podcaster from Old Guy Talks to Me. That's his podcast. He's brilliant. Like, he talks our language, sex, marriage, complaining, but like factual stuff. Look, we're not factual.
He's a doctor.
But he is a doctor. So he actually probably has actual facts. But he has really good topics for life as an older person, which we thought would be really cool to have a different perspective.
Absolutely.
So anyways, before we have lovely Orest on chatting away about all good things when we get older, right? Because there's not going to be anything bad when we get old.
Right?
Totally.
Nothing.
We're going to drink yet again, we just need to drink. We've got, this is from Sense of Taste, Scotty the Giant.
Scotty.
Because we're having a bit of another, yet again, technical, lovely morning.
I don't know what you mean.
No, everything's working fantastic. I just wanted to have a good old Pinot Grigio. One of my favorites.
Now, is the je in that pronounceable, or is it like a Pinot Grigio?
No, because this is... Oh, you're so funny, Billy. No, because this is Italian. The Pinot Gris is French. So that's why, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Different languages, Billy.
Girl.
So Pinot Grigio.
Oh, right. Very nice.
God,
where's your pasta sauce?
Wow. Okay. Stop. Billy really wants to drink. She has her like glass.
Give me the glass.
Waving
Give me the wine.
Can I explain the wine before I pour it?
Sure. If you must.
Calm down. So this is a Tar and Roses.
Ooh.
Never heard that label.
No,
so
I
super,
haven't.
Yeah, super excited to try it. They have some stickers like Royal Melbourne Wine Awards for 2019, gold, and then a trophy. So they won 2 awards for those awards.
Cool.
Anyways, so yeah, 2019, it's from Victoria. So look, it's just going to be good, right?
Look.
Like, as if it's going to be bad.
It's a Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
It's Italian in Australia. How can you go wrong? Oh,
Right?
look at it, pinky color.
It's
peach. It's peachy. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
And listeners, don't be disappointed. I'm about to say the fun fact after we drink because we just need to drink.
Yeah. Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah, what
Cheers.
a pretty color.
It is a beautiful color. Let me smell it.
I'm just drinking. Oh, God.
It smells beautiful.
Oh, my God, Billy.
Okay.
Be prepared. How delightful is that?
That is really delightful. I could guzzle that right down. Like, it's nice and refreshing and just like hugs me from the inside right now. I just feel like it's giving me the love that I require
right
at this very moment.
For sure. I was hoping that it had like a little description on the back.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It doesn't. No, it just says like
I'll tell you what's in it.
Yeah.
Peaches and love. And alcohol. And how much does this one go for?
22 buckaroonies at Sense of Taste.
$22.
Couparo Square.
Seriously, worth every cent. This is a delicious wine. And also like the label again, like, you know how there's some wine labels that are like really fun and like colorful, and then there's some wine labels that kind of make you feel like you're an expert when you're drinking it. This one will make you feel like you're an expert.
It's just very simple and elegant.
Like it's elegant. Yeah.
It's so good. Like, seriously, one of my favorite Pinot Grigios.
This is going to be such a nice like summer drink. Beautiful. Well, thank you, Sense of Taste. Thank you, Scotty, for this delightful wine. Lindalin, do tell us your fun fact.
Look, because I'm in a mood, I was like, Billy, I don't want to fucking do a fun fact. I don't feel like
I'm not feeling fun.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't in a fun mood. So I stumbled across this Pinot Grigio funny quote.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
It's just a quote.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to be as useless as the tea in Pinot Grigio. Okay, Billy? So don't expect anything extravagant or extraordinary out of me today.
Gee, I hope Orest is in a better mood.
Orest, we're counting on you, buddy. Bring it, bud.
Let's bring Orest out. Let us introduce you to our old guy friend.
So welcome to the show, Orest, and cheers.
Yay. Cheers to you. Thank you.
Yeah, what are you drinking, Orest?
I'm drinking a Pinot Noir, and it's from Oregon. It's Erath, and it's very, very tasty.
Looks
very
delicious. We love a good Pinot Noir.
Yeah, it's a nice drink.
It looks delicious. And Orest is coming from Las Vegas. How freaking cool is that? And Orest, we've already told our listeners about your podcast, but give us an insight as to what you do, who you are, a bit of information of what you've done in the past, just so we know who we're talking to.
Well, most importantly, I just want to tell you that I'm a Libra.
Oh,
I think that's I want to get that out there because I know that's probably the thing that your listeners were most interested in was know my zodiac sign. So I have. Up until about a little bit over 2 years ago, I used to have a real job. I used to be a periodontal regenerative surgeon. And so I used to do surgery on patients' gums and do dental implants.
wow.
Right.
Yeah. So I did that for about 33 years. And I think by the time this interview is over, you'll get a full idea that I am a attention whore.
Oh.
You are going to get along with Lindsay just fine.
Yeah. And so I looked at ways to kind of feed my artistic side, my creative side. Mm-hmm. And I started a blog, which kind of didn't really go very far. It kind of went okay, stuff like that. I'm learning I'm a dinosaur, so I'm learning this whole internet game. And so somebody said, you really should start a podcast. And I did that. And so I spent a lot of time interviewing people. My podcast is, and if you need to go and grab a piece of paper, I will wait for you for a second so you can write this down. Old Guy Talks to me.com. And my tagline is helping older guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. And my tendency is to be without a filter, which embarrasses my family to no end. There are things that they wish they did not know about me, but there are things that they know about me. And so I talk about stuff on my podcast. I interview experts in their various fields. It can be anything from anti-aging medicine, erectile dysfunction, vaginal rejuvenation. It can be about cigars. It can be about scotch. Right. It can be about porn. It can be about, actually, I have the opportunity to interview a world UFC world champion, Forrest Griffin. Cool. So I've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of experts in a lot of different areas. Some of it's fun. A lot of it's fun. It's really about improving the quality of your life by knowing what quality things are out there.
So to improve the quality of our life, you touched base earlier that you had interviewed a gynecologist about vaginal rejuvenation. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Tell.
Vaginal deterioration and vaginal rejuvenation. And,
now, how old does a woman have to be for any of this? Because Lindsay's 41. So is she going to need vaginal rejuvenation anytime soon?
I am not going to give you the first answer that came to my head because I'd get slapped in the head by my wife.
No, tell it.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to go. Even me with the filter, I actually just turned the filter on a little bit.
Be brave, Orest. Be brave.
Yeah.
No. I'll just maybe I know it doesn't have to do with that. It doesn't have to do with the mileage. But let me kind of go back to the serious side of it. I think Anna and I even talked about that. No, I don't think we did.
Yeah.
So I interviewed a gynecologist, and she's really, really smart. She's got like 3 degrees, and also she's a member of all these organizations and And so we talked about that. And one of the things is that guys don't realize a lot of things that happen to women as they get older. Right. And there's some stuff that goes on that, and it's like a lot of times it's not that it happens like all at once. It kind of slowly creeps on you. And one of the things has to do with, especially if you had kids, if you have vaginal births, very, very likely to have urinary incontinence. It's not an old person thing. It's just, so a lot of people don't know that for some reason it can be just a stupid sneeze that will cause that. And
totally. When I sneeze, Orest, I cross my legs just for precaution.
Yeah.
Just to make sure everything stays where it needs to stay. Yeah.
And so that's one of the things, and guys don't realize that's an issue for women, and women don't talk about it, and which is
and even if they realize, I feel like they ignore it. I feel like it's one of those things that it's like your fun playground, and so if it pees when it sneezes, it's like, we'll just pretend that doesn't exist.
Right.
It's like,
I don't know. Ignoring stuff is not good. The old guy's not for ignoring stuff, obviously. And so that that's one of the things. And then vaginal dryness is a real issue as you get older. The other thing that happens also is the vaginal walls thin, and sex becomes painful.
And
how soon does that happen? Because Linny, again, over here is nearing that age when.
Linny, I think it happens at 42.
Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. The line, we can't hear you anymore.
Orest, I'm gonna like you.
Listen to his giggle. I love him.
So I it happens. It's one of those things that creeps up, and everyone's different. So it doesn't affect everyone in the same way at different times. But and the whole thing about it is that especially people use a lot of lubricants and things like that, and there's some lubricants that are absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to mention the names because I don't want to get sued. But most of I mean, in the States you can get sued for everything.
Yeah.
But the deal is that a lot of them are actually cause tissue damage because of what's in them. So it's not just not just they're like sticky or blah blah blah, but they actually cause physical damage to you. It's a challenge to find out. And actually, Anna Quebec, my interview that I did with her, we talk a little bit about that. And so we talk about because there's different kinds of lubricants, and some that you can use with sex toys if you're prone or not. And you can't use a silicone-based with silicone toys, and those sort of things. But there's some that are actually very, very caustic to a woman's vagina. And
coconut oil in America, because honestly, I think coconut oil could solve a lot of those problems.
That's actually one of the ones that she mentions as a home lube. That's it's effective, and she and I talked about that greatly. But then also there's lots of therapies that are out there for rejuvenation. Some of it has to do with exercises and Kegel exercises.
I'm doing mine right now.
We're doing
right now as we're during the interview.
Yeah, right now. Hold, breathe, keep talking. Yep, keep going.
Again, Lindsay's a little bit further ahead in the age arena than I am.
So. And then there's also various therapies like a sonic therapy. I'm not a big fan of laser therapies.
I'm not a big fan of laser therapy in the vagina either. What does that mean?
And then there's the other thing is what people call the O shot. And actually, I'm going to be interviewing an expert who teaches how to do the O shot.
What's that?
What is the O shot?
The O shot is, are you familiar with platelet-rich plasma, PRP?
No.
Okay. Oh, and I need to give a disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. Consult with the appropriate professional before pursuing any treatment. You're responsible for your own shit. And okay, so I think that's my disclaimer. I think Sue, the IP lawyer, would be happy that I said that. So we're talking about the O shot. The O shot, PRP there's several variations actually developed over the decades. And it's basically where you take some of your own blood and you spin it down a centrifuge and you pull out the growth factors. And then you put those into, and it's used in a lot of different surgeries. It's used for an O shot to basically try to rejuvenate some of the vagina. It's not a permanent fix, but it's a temporary fix. For some people, it lasts a few months. Other people, it lasts years. It's highly variable. Same thing as any kind of regenerative therapy like that is true for that. And so they do that. Sometimes they use other things with it in combination with that.
And is that to like bring back a bit of the juices? Like I don't mean to be gross.
Actually, it's a regenerative therapy. Yeah, and it also for women also it helps them with their orgasm. And there's also a version called the P shot for men for erectile dysfunction.
So with erectile dysfunction, so you were saying before we started to record that, and this was actually mind blowing to me, that men's erectile dysfunction can start in their 40s.
Right. And it depends on how you label that. Okay. And I'm going to say that some people call erectile dysfunction and erectile dissatisfaction kind of the same thing. There's no like, it's not like a cutoff point or whatever. It's kind of like you slowly get into it. And the statistic is that 40% of men in their 40s, 50% of men in their 50s, 60% of men in their 60s suffer erectile dysfunction. Now, some form. Now, for some, it could be very, very severe. Yeah. For some, it can be minor, and some don't have any, and some have stopped having sex, so they don't even know it.
Right.
So it's an interesting phenomenon, and a lot of men, because they're macho and everything else, will not talk about that.
Right. Yeah. Like I was blown away when you said that in the 40s is when it starts.
Some of it can be something it can be something as postural, like being on the bottom.
Right.
Okay. So that might be something, or you just maybe not, maybe you have a harder time penetrating than you used to.
Right.
I'm a little bit scared that there's a bunch of men that are going to be hearing this and then going home to their wives and saying, "Darling, I can only do it in doggy style. Like, I can only do it standing up or something, or I can only do it, in the kitchen or something." It's kind of like I'm.
If that's what they say, I'm gonna just tell your ladies to say, call bullshit on that.
Yeah.
Then and they can just say, well, okay, if you can't do it, well, then I guess we're not doing it, and I think that'll be a cure right away. But it's an interesting phenomenon, and the trauma that exists in erectile dysfunction is pretty significant.
Right.
It affects, well, first of all, it affects the man. It affects their self-esteem. It affects their whole consciousness about them being a man. Then they get withdrawn a lot of times. They will withdraw from that significant person in their lives. And that significant person in their lives will start having self-doubts. And the self-doubts are, do they still love me? Do they think I'm still pretty enough? Are they attracted to me? Have they substituted porn for me, or are they having an affair?
Yeah, right.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so
that's
those
what I would think if my husband started withdrawing from me. Erectile dysfunction will probably be very low on the list of things that would concern me if my husband started pulling away from me a little bit.
Yeah, but that might be a factor because all of a sudden you start avoiding the physical intimacy, which affects your emotional intimacy.
Right.
And so when you say, but like couples don't have sex, well, then to a certain extent they just become roommates.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and there's very little relationship there. I'm a great believer that in the combination of both the emotional and the physical intimacy that exists, and so that whole thing is kind of like it just snowballs into being reclusive, and the whole thing about sex. If you're worried about erectile dysfunction, you're not focused on the physical and emotional intimacy. You're focused about whether you're going to stay hard or not.
So, Lindalin, where are you getting our next bottle of wine?
Sense of Taste, of course, Bildo. They have a beautiful selection of wines, over 100 spirits open for tasting, a great selection of craft beer, and they even have a variety of cheese and cured meats.
Dude, you had me at meats. and wine.
So make sure you go and check out one of their boutique bottle shop locations at Cooperoo and Hamilton.
Ching!
Talk to me about porn, because you just touched on that. How does that sort of enter into it? Porn is obviously a big deal for guys. It's not so much for us. I mean, we use it and stuff, but like, does that, with erectile dysfunction and porn, can that turn into a problem? Like, how does this porn help with erectile dysfunction? I don't understand. What is porn for men?
No.
I'm curious.
I'll tell you, I did a big interview with a former porn and sex addict. I will tell you that one of the issues, and it's a huge issue for men, and especially young men, is that porn will desensitize you to normal sexual stimuli.
Oh, really?
And it's actually a rewiring of the physiology of your brain. Especially now, the statistic is, and I can't remember, somewhere in the UK, it said that 50% of young men by the age of 12 have used porn. And so what happens is that they get this whole, one, it rewires their brain. But then the other thing is that they get this whole idea about what a sexual encounter is like.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not even going to use the word love, but what a sexual encounter is. And it's totally not based on reality.
Yeah.
Of course not.
I mean,
I can tell you that, because those chicks and what they're doing in porn videos is not what happens in a normal bedroom. I mean,
No.
sometimes, but
really?
not.
Yeah.
But you're right. They have no idea what the guys, what kind of shots those guys have put in their dicks to keep them long, keep them hard for 6 to 8 hours when they shoot the videos.
Oh, God.
That's so true. I never thought about that. I never thought about what young men would be getting from their role in sex.
Yeah.
Because I always kind of think of it from a woman's perspective, as in, that's not what women do, and that's not how they act, and that's not what how we perform generally. But it never occurred to me that young men would be watching that thinking, man, I got to be so hard, and I got to come on her face, and she's going to love that. Like, it never occurred to me.
And a lot of porn is actually demeaning to women. It's Yeah, and so if that's what a person thinks that their sexual experience should be, well, they're in for a huge, rude awakening. And so, and all of a sudden, like the first time you have sex, especially as a young person, well, it doesn't last very long. Especially for a guy. Now for a woman, she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm ready." It already happened. It already. It happened. Wait, the girl's going like, "What? Just it already happened? What do you mean it already happened?"
Yeah.
I think the tip is you have to make the woman come first, and then you can not do whatever you want after.
No young kids really know that. So
exactly.
So there's actually a term for it. It's called PIDE, porn-induced erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
And so these kids get this idea that's totally unrealistic about what stuff is, and consequently, it just really screws them up.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's very, very hard to be a male in the 21st century because there's so many things coming at you. And I think it's hard. I'm sure it's also hard to be a young woman in the 21st century because you got all sorts of crazy crap going on too. But I think there's a lot of pressure and a lot of things that are going on there that we never. I mean, gosh, porn in my time was looking at the lingerie section of the Sears and Roebuck catalog.
Sears, yes, exactly. Yeah.
So
So with your talkings and your guests and speaking to these experts, like, do the older generation, do they still look at porn? Like, is that still part of your life?
I think some do, and there's some addicted. I don't think it happens that much, and it depends on the quality of the relationship that they're in.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And if everybody's kind of disaffected and they've kind of ended up on stray paths, then I think that may be more of a problem.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's really about the relationship and maintaining the emotional and the physical intimacy. I think that's the most important part is to do that. And I think that's really pretty key.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, like even now, so like I've got 3 young kids and my husband works crazy hours. So, we don't have a lot of sex. And you do sometimes have those conversations where it's like, oh God, it feels like you're my roommate. And you even touched base on that before. And it's not that we don't love each other or like, find each other attractive or whatever, but it's a lot of work, right? Like to keep that sexual aspect of your marriage apart and alive, so to speak.
And taking care of the kids and all that, it's stressful. It takes a lot of energy, and like it's not unreasonable that you may not be interested at that time to have sex, and it takes a while. I interviewed a woman by the name of Maureen McGrath, and she has a sex talk show in Vancouver. She had a TEDx talk. She's had 20 million hits on it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And she talked about how women may not necessarily initiate sex, but they're more responsive. I think for guys, the things that I would suggest, especially with women that are being, is one, to understand that every touching moment is not going to end in sex.
Right. Yes.
But if you do things on a regular basis that shows your appreciation, chances are much higher and I mean chances, it's not like being contrived and like, oh, this is the end game, but to be honestly be appreciative of the work that person is putting into your lives, into both of your lives. And there are things that you can do that require very little effort on your part. Right. And they will enhance the quality of your relationship. And
for sure. And are these the 3 you were talking about earlier about these magic?
Yes, they are. The 3 things you can do to get laid more frequently. My wife hates that when I say that. Without begging, I'm only going with trade secret here, because that usually requires an opt-in at or at least a visit to oldguytalkstome.com. Old guy talks.
Which everybody
should go. Yeah.
First of all, thing that guys hate to do, and so this is the hardest of the 3, is have an honest conversation and talk and listen.
Oh, mind-blowing.
Which it is mind-blowing for men.
Yeah.
Because to us, obviously, that's how we roll. Women are so emotional and we're so needy of that emotional response. And men are so not there. They're very much like...
If you are, as a man, if you become a more present, and I'm not talking about lovey-dovey,
which would be nice.
Which would be nice. Oh no, that has it would
be nice. Yeah.
But maybe actually saying, like, having a conversation about how your day is going, but not like just asking and where everybody goes, oh, fine. But actually having a in-depth conversation, like, what'd you do? How that feel about that? And so having an in-depth conversation rather than kind of a on the surface glossing over shit.
And do you know what? Not to interrupt you, Orest, I 100% validate that to a T, because like Cameron, my husband, again, works crazy hours, 3 young kids, and like he'll come home and amongst the chaos of trying to get the kids to bed or finishing dinner, cleaning up, he'll be like, oh, so how was your day? And I always just reply, fine. Because I don't have time. He's just asking to ask so he can tick it off the box. He's not really caring, so to speak.
Oh,
he is, but he isn't. Like
I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, like it's not a conversation. Like if I were to say, well, actually, babe, I did this, and then this happened, he'd be like, whoa, too
That's
much.
That's not what I asked.
You know what I mean? And with all due respect to him, he would have no idea what I do during the day. All the stuff that I've done and have to do and do. So it's a question he asks all the time. But my response is always, oh yeah, it was fine.
I would suggest that maybe you don't have to give like a 10-minute.
Why not, Orest?
Well, you can, but with all the kids and everything else you got to do, I don't see that as being realistic. So I'd like to make realistic suggestions here. Yeah. But maybe you just say, okay, well, not instead of just fine.
Yeah.
That when the guy hears the word fine, it usually means it's not fine. it's opening up communication. And
Yeah,
so if you just say fine, you give like a one-word answer to an open-ended question that doesn't requires more than a yes or no answer. Then I think maybe just a little bit. Oh yeah, we did this and we did this and we did this and we did that.
Yeah,
and that maybe 60 to 120 seconds might open up the opening to more discussions because quite frankly probably don't know what you do. And that also means talking about your wants, your needs, his wants, his needs, not necessarily at that moment when you come from work and everybody's trying to get the kids and all that stuff, but that may be a quiet time where you're sitting down outside or whatever and having a glass of wine and talking about, okay, this is what I want, this is what I need, what do you want, what do you need? And having that kind of a conversation, having an open conversation where there's an opening to be honest. Now, I will guarantee you, unless you're some fucking unicorns, the first time you do this, everyone's going to look at like, are you smoking dope or what? What's wrong with you? It's that. Like, is this a trap?
Yes.
Is this like you're trying to set a trap for me, whatever? So these, you've been in your patterns for a long time.
Yeah,
Don't expect to get out. People go to like a weekend retreat and well, it's not going to unravel 10 years worth of relationship. Or not unravel the relationship, but unravel the patterns you've established in your relationship. Yeah. And it takes energy and focus and consistent effort to unravel patterns in your relationship.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen overnight, and at first, it's going to seem very fucking awkward.
Yeah.
Right.
If that's number one, no one wants to get number two and three.
Number one is important. Number one is open communication, really.
Exactly. Yeah. And it takes time, especially if you haven't been doing it. Number two is really easy for guys. Open the car door for your significant other.
Chivalry.
Yes. The old romantic gestures, right?
Exactly.
Take your coat off.
Exactly. And I'm not gonna claim like I'm the best guy in the world. I'm not as good as I should be. When I think about it, I try to do it. I don't do it as well, but it doesn't take anything to do that. But if you that old style being a gentleman chivalry, holy crap! First of all, if a guy does this, it'll confuse the woman.
Yeah, for sure. I would actually feel a little bit. Not embarrassed, well, a mixture of being embarrassed and awkward if my husband started to do those things. But then I'd be like, oh my God, this is so super sweet. Like I would adore it.
So open that car door.
I think that actually raises a bit of an interesting point because I think chivalry is dying a little bit with feminism.
Oh, for sure.
Because I think that women are coming to that place where they're like, we want equality, so you don't need to open my car door. I'll open it myself. That sort of thing where it almost stops men from being chivalrous because we're trying to be so independent. So I think we've lost our way a little bit with feminism in terms of our relations with what we expect from men.
Yeah, men
are always scared to be chivalrous these days.
Well, they shouldn't be. And if somebody complains about me holding a door open, then the next thing they might get from me is the peace sign. They might get half the peace sign, or I might tell them to get that. Fortunately, there's no therapy for their condition, and so I think that's the whole thing. And it's a thing that unfortunately young men and older men aren't being trained, and we've lost that training about that. Giving a seat to an older person, that kind of shit. That's gone for the most part. That's gone by the wayside. And so that whole chivalry thing, being a gentleman is not actually. It's a testament to your masculinity. Yeah, being a gentleman is a testament to masculinity. It's not that you are giving something up. It's just saying you're being chivalrous. Yeah. And I'm a fucking man, and I'm here to take it. I'm here to do things. And then the third thing, go to the supermarket and buy a dozen roses.
Oh, okay.
For no special occasion.
Right.
Just do it once a month. One of the times I remember I was at the supermarket and the cashier looks at me, and it was like 6:00 on a Tuesday morning. I mean, she goes like, "Well, you must be really in trouble to be buying roses on a Tuesday morning. I'm going like, no, that's how I stay out of trouble. Is I do that. And I don't know what the roses cost in Australia, but I mean, in the States, it's $9.99 for a dozen roses you buy. It doesn't have to be roses, but if you do that on a regular basis and you put them on the nightstand, guys, put them on the fucking nightstand, okay?
Yeah. Hear that, boys?
On the nightstand. Yeah, flowers on the nightstand is tip 3.
And that just goes, and don't expect like, okay, I'm gonna get. I just bought flowers now. I'm gonna get laid tonight. No, it doesn't work that way. But what it does is just it creates an atmosphere of an appreciation.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's not a big thing to do. It's actually very easy. And then you don't have to be that sap on Valentine's Day, on the Hallmark holiday, buying roses at the supermarket, wherever. It's like $80 for a dozen, and like everything else, and that Valentine's Day gesture is not going to overcome being an asshole for the whole year.
No, it's building up the love. Like, I love fresh flowers. I went through a phase where I would have flowers all the time, and I buy them from my grocery store. Just what you're saying, or it's like local Woolies, go down, get them for $8, $10, just whatever. And I love fresh flowers. And I've even said to my husband, I have told him, buy me flowers. If you want to do something sweet for me for no reason, buy me flowers. I love it. Do you think the motherfucker has ever done it? Except on Valentine's Day. And I'm like, dude, I don't want Valentine's Day.
Other fool is in there.
Exactly. I'm like, I just want flowers. You on your way home going, I'll buy Lynn's like this packet of bunch of flowers.
Okay, rappity rap for part 1 of that sensational talk with Orest, who has just given us so much more information than I ever required, but was so fucking useful.
I know. I don't know if I'm scared or excited.
Right?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And I'll let you know before you get there because I'm so much older than you. So
right?
I'll just pave the way for you, Bill.
Honestly, never have I felt more envious of Lenny being so much older than me than I have today.
Rappity rap, Bill.
Rappity rap. Thank you so much for being with us. You can find Orest on all of his socials that he's already given us. Our socials, you know how to find us. Google us. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. Just like Google Wine Chats or Bildo or Lindalin or Wine Chats with Bildo and Lindalin or Wine Chats podcast or,
Tom, just play the music.
Wrap it up. Thank you. Let's sing. Orest isn't here to sing with us, but that's okay. Because Linny will cover for him.
No, I won't.
So let's do it.
No.
A one.
Didn't you hear me, Billy?
1, 2,
I'm
3,
useless
4.
as the tea. Remember? Useless as the tea. Just like you're singing. It's useless. There's no point to it.
Tom, hit the music.